What up, African world? It's your boy HomeTeam here. I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. Now, some of you have been asking me to talk a little bit about my background and pretty much why I do what I do. So here it is. I have a bachelor's degree in history and I recently got my master's in social science. I personally have always had an interest in world history, but I began to notice I knew absolutely nothing about Africa. And as you guys know, popular culture usually advances the idea that, Africa is a dark continent with dark people and a dark history. And when I began to study it for myself, I realized how untrue that was. And I also realized how it affected me. But when I started to actually teach African history to little school kids, I realized how damaged they were and how they internalized all the negative stereotypes perpetuated by popular culture. Like I mentioned before, I didn't even know how damaged I was until I realized that I used to think just how they used to think. You see, with the kids, there was usually like two extremes. On one end, the kids would overly romanticize Africa, and on the other end, they didn't believe the agency of African people at all. I began to connect the dots and understand that all these negative images of African history and African people greatly affects how black children view themselves and inevitably how others view us, hence justifying ill treatment of Afro-descended people. And so basically HomeTeam was born. So more about me, my mother is Jamaican and my dad is from this random island called Antigua. I say that because nobody knows where Antigua is apparently. But I actually took this DNA test from this company called African Ancestry because I've always been interested and wanted to know. You guys should definitely check them out. African Ancestry basically tests your maternal and your paternal lineage to find out where your people are from. They have other tests as well, but those are just recent additions. So they tested a lot of black people, especially black celebrities. Now, according to them, about 80% of the people who take the maternal lineage test actually end up in Africa. And about 60% of the people, I believe, don't quote me on that, who take the paternal lineage test actually end up in Africa. And all this is true just based on history and just people just interacting with each other through time. So your own ancestry can possibly come from anywhere just based on history alone. I know somebody asked me to reveal my results, so here it is. For my maternal lineage, according to African Ancestry, I share genetic ancestry with the Fulani people of Guinea-Bissau. So basically the test is saying, my mother's 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 mother, pretty much, was apparently a Fulani woman in Guinea-Bissau. So shout out to all my Fulani people. And for my paternal lineage, I share ancestry with the Bundu people of Angola. Shout out to the Bundu. So now what that means is my father's 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 father was a Bundu man from Angola. One of the most prominent Bundus in all of African history was Queen Zinga. Shout out to her. Now this test doesn't mean I don't have other ancestry. All it's doing is tracing one specific line. And I encourage all Afro-descended people to take it. Now for my projects, I'm doing a lot of projects right now. And I guess I'm trying to organize them so you guys can be able to participate a little more. Right now, a completed project I have for you guys is called Tears of Nuba. And it's an iPhone app. You guys can actually go download it right now in the App Store. It's basically a fighting game that incorporates the African Diaspora, history, and culture. Pretty much a rock'em sock'em style fighting. I'm also working on a comic right now and a graphic novel called Africans in Greek Mythology, which is a work in progress. Now funding this has pretty much been a journey and I kind of want to bring it together for you guys. So I've been selling my snapback hats that I created that incorporates African history, culture, and worldview. So the money from these hats actually goes straight toward the development of these projects that advance our narrative and history. I'm also working on developing a website where we can all kind of come together and network and build projects together even. I'm all about building projects that advance our history, culture, and worldview, especially for the next generation. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys can support the HomeTeam. You already know what it is. It's your boy HomeTeam. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.